So I started in the Canadian Studies program. Really excited about that. It was such a unique program. I really wasn't seeing anything like that out there. I had so many different interests from, I knew I wanted to study in French, but I also wanted to do literature, but I was interested in economics, political science. And so I was all over the map with what I wanted to do, and the Canadian Studies program allowed me to really choose from different categories and craft kind of my own degree really in the things that interested me. And then in my first year of Canadian Studies, I had to choose an elective, and I chose Women's Studies, not really knowing anything about the discipline or what the study would be like at all. And I just absolutely fell in love with that class. It was such a safe space to explore all these different ideas that I really hadn't been exposed to in the small town where I grew up. So I found I was just gravitating more and more towards those classes. So by the end of my degree, I'd actually done a double major in Canadian Studies and Women's Studies. And I'd also added in this certificate in law and social thought because I knew I wanted to go to law school. And again, the courses were just so incredible. I remember taking popular trials and covering just these trials that had changed the landscape of Canadian law, and thinking, wow, it was so affirming of my decision to go to law school, and it put me head and shoulders above the other kids in my class when I made it to law school. So that certificate program was very unique and a great addition to my degree. So when I graduated with a double major in this certificate, I then went on to law school. I don't think that Glendon is a place that you come if you want to slack off. If you want to coast for 4 years, it's really not the right choice. If you're thinking about pursuing graduate school, if you're thinking about pursuing a professional degree, what those degrees are really about is resilience. You have to be able to slog through a lot of work and a lot of material, and you need to be able to think critically about things. And I knew going into law school that I was really going to need those skills, and that those were the skills that would set me apart, not just in law school, but in my career afterwards. And Glendon really fosters this atmosphere where you have to think critically. You're in these smaller classes. You have this opportunity to engage with your professors, with your colleagues in these seminar style classes or in these intensives in a way that I don't think you get at other campuses, and that does set you ahead when you then proceed into graduate studies. At law school, a lot of my peers were engaging with material on this level for the very first time, and I had already had so many years of that type of education at Glendon that I felt really comfortable just jumping into an atmosphere where you're asked to think very critically about a large quantity of material and to digest it in a very short amount of time. Another class that really stands out was philosophy of law, and then the second part of that was law and social thought. Again, a really challenging course where you're really delving into some of the real foundations of our law. Where did our laws come from? Why do we have laws? And again, not a background that a lot of law students necessarily have. A lot of them are jumping into, well, here's the law as it stands today. And I had this background from Glendon where I talked about, why do we even have laws? What are the doctrines that we kind of wrote our laws to suit? And I had all of that background knowledge. So that stands out as one that I come back to those first principles often when I'm drafting, when I'm making arguments, when I think about why do I want to be a lawyer. Those sorts of classes come to mind as really affirming that decision. But while I was at Glendon, I was really involved, maybe a little bit too involved. I spent a lot of time working with a lot of the different on-campus groups. So I was editor-in-chief of Pro-Tem for 2 years, which was I have a lot of fond memories about that organization. I also worked in residence life. So I was a Don for 3 years, followed by a residence life assistant for 1 year. And that community was obviously incredible. I still miss that. It turns out when you move out to a condo or to an apartment, people don't plan activities for you anymore. There aren't common rooms where you get together with everyone after your classes. So that was a community that I was really involved in. I was also involved in a lot of student governance. So I sat on quite a few committees. So I heard academic dishonesty hearings. I was involved in crafting the new student rights and responsibilities. I was a student representative on that. So tried to be involved as well in kind of shaping the college and shaping the campus for the students who would be following in my footsteps.